Mana series is a hidden gem, or at least in my eyes, and has been around for quite some time now. I can remember long ago purchasing Final Fantasy Adventure for the Game Boy, which is really the first Seiken Densetsu, and falling in love with the game instantly. To this very day, I still greatly adore this RPG. I'm actually currently playing it, and it'll always be one of my all-time favorites. It was not too long after that I discovered Seiken Densetsu 3, or as we all know it over here in the West as Trials of Mana, via ways that I cannot disclose due to conflict of interest. I had noticed another entry on the PlayStation entitled The Legend of Mana, but could not get my hands on it, so the Trials of Mana had to suffice for the time being. Though to my surprise, a game on the Super Nintendo that I was not all too familiar with, Seiken Densetsu 3, was amazing to me. I loved how it was not turn-based and was superior to the Secret of Mana game that was also on the Super Nintendo, a game that I would not beat until years and years later. I played this game without end, making different party arrangements and trying out all the game had to offer. Sadly, since I was an inexperienced RPG gamer as a child, I never got the chance to complete it. Now fast forward into the future. When I heard news of an HD remake being released, I was thrilled. Not only because I loved the original, but because the previews looked absolutely stunning. The game was given a huge overhaul, which I knew would make it even greater than what it previously was, and boy, was I right. The moment that I laid eyes on the game's announcement, I knew that it had to be mine. And with no further ado, I present to you my review of the Trials of Mana HD remake.
This is the Mana Sword.
Considering that Mana is somewhat of an old school themed RPG, stories from the titles, or at least the ones that I have played, have been rather simple. Boy falls from high cliff, boy finds Mana Sword or plans to seek after it, then boy learns that he is the chosen one, and then boy finally, along with fellow companions, stops the forces of evil and saves the world. All this with very little dialogue in between. Trials was a bit different and stood out more compared to the rest of the Mana games in the series. Now, don't get me wrong, it does not own a script comparable to the likes of the later Final Fantasy games, but it is just enough to keep you engaged. This time around, there are 6 characters to choose from, all with their very own characteristics, weapons, as well as other unique features. You select one out of the 6 characters to be your main character of the tale and to have their perspective be told, and 2 other supporting characters that you will meet sometime upon your journey, who you will also have the opportunity to both play as and to experience both the beginning and ending of their tales. My 3 ended up being Duran as lead, Hawkeye, and Reese as my additional party members because they were so cool to me. So I'll be speaking from the perspective of these 3, though I'm sure that the game does not divert from following a similar path for the other members. The story begins with the kingdom being attacked and Duran making an oath to himself to become stronger and switching his class. This remake definitely breathes more life into the game, and the superior subbed version of the game allows you to feel each character's passion. I don't know about the English dub though. Sounds pretty atrocious to me. Duran is acquainted with a fairy who comes in the name of the goddess and temporarily occupies Duran's body as a vessel to sustain herself. She urges Duran to assist her, but in the beginning of the journey, he is reluctant to comply, and her plea falls upon deaf ears. But by the end of the game, and with the Mana Sword in hand, Duran proves that he is worthy and capable of being a warrior and defender of Mana. Back to the classes. There are 3 in total, and 2 of them are obtained by naturally progressing through the story, and the final class is obtained during the post-game part of the game. This game most definitely caught me by surprise, because it was done very well. I thoroughly would train and look forward to each and every class upgrade and acquire them with a great sense of achievement, almost as if I was Duran myself. The party travels both high and low, seeking out the antagonists of each of their stories, and I think that it was done excellently in this recreation. Like previously stated, the script is not entirely worthy of any awards. What more can you expect from such an old school game? But it definitely has just enough to make it compelling for the average RPG lover. By this story's end, you will feel accomplished and fulfilled. Such an awesome tale it was.
Ever since that day you beat me, I've been getting stronger. I'll show you power, right here, right now!
This was perhaps my favorite part of the game. In the original game, there was some fun to be had, but it's nothing compared to this. Battle has completely been upgraded. Characters can do awesome combos with many variations. Some of the combos aim to attack a single enemy, some attack a large area to strike numerous enemies. This time around, there are light and heavy attacks that when pressed in different combinations do different awesomely animated attacks. You can also jump now and descend with the aerial attacks, and now you can also dodge roll. Combat felt very fluid to me. My only real complaint being that the camera had to be manually controlled, and things could get rather wonky at times when you try to focus on attacking a foe while dodging another. But despite this disappointment, one could get used to it with some time, as I did. Now, there are also charge attacks that when used have the ability to break shields and cause massive damage. You will be using this quite frequently, so be prepared. Magic makes a return as well, but depending on your starting 3, you may not be able to use anything for a while. At least until a class change or appropriate level and skill point allocation. I couldn't really use magic like a true champ until the nearing of the end game, but that was fine with me. The spells in D-Bus and Bus in this game are pretty cool, and I had Reese constantly supporting me as DeBron would heal the party. Perhaps the most coolest part of this game are the flashy strikes that each character can do when their strike gauges are charged. These moves will clear enemies out your path, and as you progress, they get even better with each class upgrade. Depending on the skill one attaches to their characters, this game can charge faster and allow frequent use of these techniques. Skills are acquired by gaining levels. When you level up, skill points are received, and you can choose what skills you wish for your characters to learn. Items can be used via the classic ring menus once more, can also now be applied to shortcuts, allowing easy access to them. Skills can also be added to shortcuts. The majority of this game is spent in combat, and I think that the battle mechanics were done very well in this game. So well that fighting will be something that you look forward to instead of trying to avoid. I thoroughly enjoyed what this battle system had to offer.
Sorry, not in here. Anywhere but here. This is my house. When I left for Wendell, I promised I wouldn't come back home until I defeated the Crimson Wizard.
The graphics in this game were beautiful and a massive upgrade to the original. Characters that I loved in the Super Nintendo version of this game were fully brought to life and all given personalities that I thought fit them extraordinarily well. Like I previously stated, I played the game in Japanese, and I am a weeaboo, so I loved the Japanese voice acting. I adored it, and I felt like each actor portrayed my choice of 3 heroes excellently. Even supporting characters were done well. That made my love for the game surely increase. That English voice acting though.
Into something for the temple, but I got a really bad feeling about it.
How distasteful. When I initially played the demo version of this game, I would experience a lot of frame rate issues and constantly observe textures being loaded in during cutscenes that totally stood out and had me feeling kinda nervous and gritting my teeth. But in the actual release, I did not notice any such thing, which was a relief to me because I was not so fond of seeing such lack of polish. Aside from the great exchange of dialogue in the game, I thought that the menus were done beautifully and the areas to be traveled through and upon to be great as well. But what really makes this game shine is the music. I'm a big fan of the classic music and the Mana soundtrack in general, but wow, the redone music here stole my heart. I really enjoyed walking back and forth while training and listening to the soundtrack. It was so heavenly to me. Some NPCs were repeats of one another, but each had dialogue for you to tune into if you liked. Not so much of a problem here. And last but not least, the class changes were done amazingly well, and upgrading your class will be something that you will always look forward to. And we are even awarded with an extra class in this version of the game, which makes it all the more fantastic. Trials of Mana definitely caught me by surprise, being a lot better than I thought that it would be. Despite my initial excitement about the game, I feared that it may be a lackluster retelling of an old tale and be horribly done, but contrary to my beliefs, it turned out to be quite amazing. Aside from the post-game objectives, this game had no real side missions. Well, besides collecting a certain little cactus, but that did not matter much. I really loved watching the days of the week change and bearing witness to nightfall becoming daylight and the changes that would occur because of those changes. Though the game is a rather simple one because of the time period that it comes from, it has easily become my favorite RPG of this decade, and I have 3 more characters to play as and watch their stories unfold that I missed during my first playthrough in New Game Plus. This game was awesome and I highly recommend it to all my RPG fanatics. People have claimed to have beaten it in 20 hours or so, but I beat it on hard mode in about 60 hours plus, and I took my time absorbing all that it had to offer. I'm sure that you'll feel the same way. I give Trials of Mana a 5 out of 5. Go get that. Hey, thank you for taking the time to watch my video. Did you agree with my thoughts? If you didn't, be sure to comment down below, and if you enjoyed the content, please subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out a lot. Also, make sure to ring the bell for notifications. Your time is precious and valuable to me, fellow RPG fanatics. As always, stay tuned for more RPGs. Over and out. Still there? Seems like you enjoyed my content. Well, if that's the case, check out these other 2 videos. I'm sure that you'll enjoy them too. Thank you for your time and support. It means the world to me. Later, gamers.